Welcome back, guys. This is Dana from Masterland Investing. Thank you guys for tuning in. What I want to talk about is using a mortgage deed when you're owner financing. Basically, a mortgage deed is another way to execute owner financing. Typically, you're going to use a title company for this. I mentioned earlier in another video doing a contract for deed. Typically, I perform most of them myself. I use an online service. I can print out the contract for deed and execute it myself. But in the past, I've also used quite a bit on a little more valuable properties. I'll do a mortgage deed. What it is, it's a legally binding contract that has the potential buyer or the buyer sign, as well as you, notarized, recorded. It gets recorded with the county. And what it is, it's an agreement that they're going to sell the property to the buyer on terms. Typically, you're going to structure a down payment at the closing. Then they're going to pay it over a period of time. They'll also get an amortization schedule that will show the payment schedule from payment one right on through all the payments right to the end until it's paid in full. What happens is once the closing's performed, everybody's signed, I've received my deposit from the buyer through the title company, that mortgage deed will get recorded with the county. But what I've done in the past is, because sometimes the markets fluctuate, sometimes people get into it. If you happen to get a default, typically what happens is you're going to have to go into basically like a foreclosure in a sense, that you have to take the property back, and it gets pretty expensive. So what I've done, and I can't say all title companies will do it, but typically when you build a good team and understand you're an investor, I try to incorporate a warranty deed in lieu of foreclosure. And what that basically is the seller's signing and notarizing part of the contract that says if they default on the property, it gives them so many days from the time that payment was late to make up the payment. If the payment's not made up, they have so many days until they have to forfeit the property. And basically what it's doing is guaranteeing you that they know they've signed that. You can call them on that, let them know that you did sign a warranty deed in lieu of foreclosure, meaning you're not going to go through the process of default, have it recorded, put on your credit that your property is foreclosed on. Basically, they're forfeiting their rights to the property. It's been recorded, and you can take the property without the extensive cost of a basic foreclosure on the property. I think with owner financing, that's key if you can. If you can execute a warranty deed in lieu of foreclosure, it'll save you a ton of time, a ton of money. It's a process that gets your property back in your hands much quicker than going through a typical default process. So I just want to mention that because owner financing is a great tool. I don't suggest owner financing when you're starting out as a beginner or a part-timer. I've said earlier that basically what you should do is stack up your money. You want to build up your money before you start doing this, because what happens is if you buy a property, say for 10 grand, it's worth 30 grand, and you decide you want to do owner financing, typically you're not going to get a big downstroke or down payment on the property, because you want to make it easy for a person that doesn't have credit. Typically, I range anywhere from 9 to 12% on my owner financing. And what happens is now you're upside down on your money on the table. You may be upside down 5-6 grand on the original purchase. If it's a $30,000 property, you paid 10. You've got some cost already up front from closing, your title search, your title policy, and it's pretty hard to get somebody to come up with 10 grand deposit. Typically, most of my deals, I bought them from 2 to 5 grand and then resold them from 15 to 20,000. I like to get the deposit amount that's what I originally have in the property, but a lot of times you can't. So just be careful, watch your dollars. And don't get hasty. Don't jump into these owner finance deals because you want to build long-term income, passive income, which is wonderful. And absolutely you can do it down the road as you get a little more savvy, you get a little money stacked up. But I just wanted to mention this process. So it's another tool in your box. So you have more than one option. You can do the contract for deed, which I've done quite a bit of, and I've done a whole lot of these mortgage deeds, which is done through a title company. It's recorded with the county. So that being said, once it's recorded, the only way to, if they default on their payments, is you have to go through the foreclosure process. It can get quite extensive and expensive. The best way is to incorporate that warranty deed in lieu of foreclosure. So I hope you guys enjoyed the lesson. It's just another tool in your box. Take note of it. Definitely use this as you start to get more into the land investing and decide to do some owner financing. Always check with your title company. The advice I give you and the lessons I've been structuring and given to all you guys that watch the videos and will take the courses, I'll always tell you guys, always check with a real estate attorney. Always check with the title company, your team. Make sure they know what you're doing. You're an investor. Here's the process you typically use. Are they able to execute that for you? If not, why not? And if there's anybody that can for you. I've always built up great teams. My title companies have been able to do it. Other times, when they can't, then what happens is you structure another way. You might have to go back to the contract for deed, do it yourself. But as a land investor, you want to stay in control of all your deals. And those are a couple of ways to just try to keep a little more control of your property when you're kind of solving a problem for someone that doesn't have credit. They want the American dream. They want to buy a property. Times have been tough for them, but they come up with a few bucks deposit. You're not requiring credit. Like I said, anywhere from 9 to 12% interest rate typically is what I do. It's just another great tool in your box. So thank you guys for listening. Stay tuned. We're going to be providing some more great content coming soon here on some videos. If you like the video, please give it the thumbs up. Share if you would. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Go out and inspire someone today if you can. Have a great week. Be generous. Don't be greedy. Thank you guys for tuning in. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.